The film begins in Tennessee in the year 1923. Two young boys, Rafe and Danny, are pretending to be World War I pilots using an old biplane, while Rafe's father is flying a real plane nearby. Danny's father interrupts their play, pulling Danny away from Rafe and criticizing Rafe for his inability to read. In response, Rafe grabs an old propeller and strikes Danny's father on his back to defend Danny, accusing him of being a German. Danny's father retorts that he is a veteran who served in the war and expresses his hope that no one else will ever have to witness the horrors he experienced during the conflict. In January 1941, close friends Danny and Rafe, both first lieutenants, are impressing their fellow pilots with their flying skills under the leadership of Major Jimmy Doolittle. A discussion ensues between Rafe and Major Doolittle about a letter accepting Rafe into the Eagle Squadron, a British Royal Air Force unit, as a volunteer pilot. With America on the brink of war, Major Doolittle gives Rafe the choice to either go to London or stay and fight. When Rafe asks what Major Doolittle would do in his place, the Major says he would go to London. Rafe then misleads Danny by saying that Major Doolittle assigned him to London, omitting the fact that he volunteered. On a train journey to New York, a group of military nurses, including Evelyn, chat about their work. Evelyn shares her romantic tale with Rafe from 4 weeks ago, revealing how she passed him in his medical exam despite his dyslexia, a reading disorder. She describes those 4 weeks and 2 days with Rafe as the most romantic period of her life. When the train stops, Rafe greets Evelyn warmly with a paper origami gift and a hug. They spend the night in New York, dancing at a nightclub with other pilots and nurses. Without permission, Rafe and Evelyn sail on a police boat in the New York harbor, cherishing their time together. Upon returning to their hotel, Rafe unexpectedly tells Evelyn about his decision to join the Eagle Squadron and go to war the next day. This news shocks Evelyn, but Rafe assures her of his return. He doesn't want her to see him off the next morning. However, to his surprise, he spots Evelyn at the train station, bidding him farewell from afar. This makes Rafe realize Evelyn's deep affection for him. Upon arriving, Rafe observes the British Air Force's struggle in the war. Planes are riddled with bullet holes being repaired, and blood stains from previous pilots. As the war intensifies in London, American forces join in to bolster their defenses, while the Japanese plan a massive strike on Pearl Harbor, where other pilots and nurses, including Evelyn, are stationed. Despite the distance, Rafe and Evelyn consistently write letters to each other, sharing their experiences without one another. During an aerial battle, Rafe leads his group effectively, taking down enemy planes one by one. However, an enemy plane targets Rafe, firing numerous bullets and hitting his plane, causing him to crash into the sea and be presumed dead. Danny delivers this tragic news to Evelyn, leaving her and others close to Rafe heartbroken. 3 months after Rafe's presumed death, Evelyn and Danny begin to develop feelings for each other. Danny invites Evelyn to watch the sunset over Pearl Harbor from the air, assuring her that they should move on from the past and start anew. One night, while Evelyn is working, she is stunned to run into Rafe, who is very much alive. Rafe explains how he survived the plane crash and how he was rescued by a French fishing boat and has been in France ever since. Danny rushes in with a telegram confirming Rafe's survival, but seeing his best friend Danny and his lover together, Rafe realizes that they moved on during his absence, and he feels betrayed. Rafe then heads to a club in Hawaii, where he's greeted warmly by his fellow pilots. Danny also shows up, which annoys Rafe. He sarcastically thanks Danny for looking after Evelyn. Danny tries to discuss their situation, but Rafe, who's been drinking and caught up in the moment, punches him. A fight ensues, causing a ruckus in the bar. The bartender calls the police, but Rafe and Danny manage to escape before they arrive. They talk things over again, with Rafe stating that things will never be the same. Exhausted, they both fall asleep in the car as dawn breaks. On the morning of December 7, 1941, a surprise attack by the Japanese caught the people of Pearl Harbor off guard. The entire fleet in the harbor is under relentless attack. Missiles target every boat and ship, and bullets rain down on the sailors, resulting in many casualties. Despite the onslaught, some sailors muster the courage to retaliate using their heavy weaponry. The destruction isn't limited to the ships. Hospitals and aircraft bases are also bombarded with gunfire and missiles. Amidst the chaos, Rafe and Danny struggle to board aircraft, but with the help of their comrades, they manage to get on 2 P-40 planes. They engaged the Japanese in an aerial battle, successfully shooting down several Japanese Zero aircraft. After that, they began to go and join the fight in the area where the battleships were parked. They successfully crashed some Japanese planes that were about to leave Pearl Harbor. Injured people are continuously arriving at the only hospital nearby, which is causing the medical staff to feel overwhelmed due to the sudden increase in patients. Evelyn is given the task of sorting out the patients who can be saved from those who cannot be saved. While doing so, she comes across her friend Betty, who was discovered dead by a man. The President of the United States, President Roosevelt, holds a meeting and announces that the events at Pearl Harbor will be remembered as a day of great dishonor, as more than 3,000 American lives were lost in the attack. The president assures the nation of a victorious outcome and declares war against Japan. Rafe and Danny are instructed to return to the United States under the command of Major Doolittle and are assigned to a covert mission. As Rafe is packing his belongings, Evelyn approaches him and asks about Danny's whereabouts. She also wants to tell Rafe that she is currently pregnant with Danny's child. She explains that while she will give Danny her whole heart, she will love Rafe with her whole life. Rafe eventually comes to accept the fact that thinking about Evelyn is the reason he is still alive, even though he returned with the odds against him. He decides to let the two important people in his life enjoy what they have. When Rafe and Danny arrive at Major Doolittle's office, he commends their bravery in taking down 7 Japanese aircraft while wearing hula shirts. He announces that they will be awarded the Silver Star and promoted to captain. Major Doolittle then asks if they are willing to join a secret mission he has been assigned. Rafe explains that in a secret mission, the medals are sent to your loved ones instead of being awarded to you. Despite knowing the risks, both Rafe and Danny accept the mission. Rafe starts to burn the letters and memories he shared with Evelyn. Danny finds him in front of a bonfire, and Rafe tries to persuade him not to go on the mission. Danny believes Rafe wants to protect him, as he always has since they were little. However, Rafe's true motivation is that he doesn't want Evelyn to experience the loss of another man. Despite Rafe's pleas, Danny insists on going, understanding that death is inevitable in war. Over the course of the next 3 months, Rafe, Danny, and other pilots who were brave enough to take on the mission undergo rigorous training in preparation for a covert operation. To ensure the planes can fly higher, faster, and more smoothly, any heavy or unnecessary components are removed. Despite the skepticism among the pilots about the feasibility of the mission, Major Doolittle reassures them. He demonstrates that it is indeed possible to fly the planes under these conditions. He does this by skillfully piloting a plane, managing to lift it off the ground just as it approaches the red line, a critical point on the runway. Major Doolittle then makes a significant announcement. Their target will be Tokyo, the bustling capital city of Japan. This news adds a new level of intensity to their training as they realize the gravity of the mission they've undertaken. The pilots, despite their initial doubts, now understand the importance of their task and are determined to see it through. Their training continues with renewed vigor as they prepare for the challenging task that lies ahead. Rafe and Danny are deep in conversation when Major Doolittle inquires about their concerns. They express their doubts about overcoming the Japanese with only 16 aircraft, especially considering the Japanese had deployed over 300 aircraft in their attack on Pearl Harbor. Major Doolittle, however, encourages them to maintain faith, asserting that victory often favors those who believe. As Major Doolittle and Jack observe their pilots, Major Doolittle shares some words of wisdom. He acknowledges that they might lose the battle, but he is confident they will win the war. He attributes this confidence to the spirit of volunteerism that resides within them, a trait he believes is rare and powerful, especially during wartime. A final meeting is held on the eve of their departure, scheduled for the following afternoon. In a surprising turn of events, Major Doolittle announces that he will be joining them in the air. This decision is met with some resistance from other military personnel who consider him a valuable asset best kept on deck. In the hours leading up to the commencement of the secret mission, Evelyn is escorted by Major Jackson into a room. This is in return for a life-saving favor she had done for him. In this room, she is privy to first-hand information about the ongoing secret mission. This also provides her with a means to stay informed about Rafe and Danny's situation. While sailing, the team was unexpectedly discovered by the Japanese. Major Doolittle had no choice but to order the pilots to launch their planes, even though they didn't have enough fuel for a long-distance flight and it wasn't part of the plan. The pilots successfully dropped bombs on the factories, their target areas. However, they faced heavy anti-aircraft fire from the Japanese, resulting in some pilots being shot and injured. Now the remaining pilots are on their own, desperately searching for nearby coastlines to land on before their fuel runs out. Suddenly, Rafe spots land and instructs Danny to follow him. and land on a rice field. They brace themselves for a rough landing, since their planes have lost their propellers and they have no fuel left. Rafe's plane and crew are the first to land on the rice field, but they are quickly surrounded by Japanese patrols and gunfire. Danny arrives just in time, shooting at the Japanese who were closing in on Rafe and the other pilots, but his plane crashes during the difficult landing. Rafe rushes to Danny's side and notices a piece of metal lodged in his neck. As he tries to remove it, the Japanese surround them once again. Rafe is struck with a gun, and Danny is tied up. Just as the Japanese are about to shoot, Rafe grabs a gun and opens fire on the other patrols. However, he soon runs out of bullets. In a heroic attempt to save Rafe's life, Danny stands up and charges at the Japanese patrol, but he is shot multiple times. The other pilots join in, eliminating the remaining Japanese patrols. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.